can have your traveling light. There's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I am.
Man, 381. That's the episode. How's my hair? I should probably leave the hat on.
Looks pretty bad.
Yeah, all right. That's what happens when you let it dry with the hat on, you know?
This is what happens when you have hospital shampoo.
Hospital shampoo.
They were like, it's an all-in-one. I was like, I didn't think you had multiples here. And the guy goes, you got to make it quick. You got to make it quick. Is this shower booked up? What the hell's going on here? There's nobody else on this
I want you
floor.
to enjoy yourself.
You gotta make it quick.
Oh, it's so weird.
This isn't a Ramada, all right?
Here's your towel. It was the size of boxer briefs. I felt like Steve Martin.
Playing trains and automobiles.
Hey, Dale. You might take my socks out of the sink if you're going to brush your teeth? Sorry.
Oh,
okay, we can start now.
I think
that was recording, but
we need to leave all that in.
Yeah.
Big Mike just did a sleep study. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Welcome to This Week in Zoltan. This is episode 381 or 281. Let's go 381. 381 sounds right. We are here. This is we record these early. By the time this has come out, my special has been out for 2 days, so I'm assuming it already has about 2.5 million views. Yeah,
it's great. I just watched it. It's amazing.
It's so good. The editing, oh my god! Remember that time I went whoa, and then everyone's like whoa.
You had lights. The lights were awesome.
The lighting. That's you're gonna see something in the special. It's this backlighting, these big dumb lights. There's a lot of emails sent about the lights. A lot of back and forth. What do you think of this light? What do you think of that one? Well, we can get 4 of them for this much, but if you want 6, it's going to be this much. Let's go with 4. Let's play some equidistant in the back, like I'm performing in front of a cruise ship that's docking for the night.
Don't forget the rug too.
Oh, the rug! There were so many emails about a rug, and then poor Mark, my manager, had to go over there and take pictures of this dirty, horrible rug. All these different rugs that the venue has that rock stars have spilled beer on. Gigi Allen took a dump on it in '98, or he died well before then, but whenever he was alive, and a lot of emails about rugs and lights. Mm-hmm. There was a time we were going to hang market lights through the thing. Did we end up doing that?
We ended up doing that.
What's a market light?
Those when you go to one of those markets where when you travel internationally and you go to a street food fair and then you're like, oh, this is great. And then white people try to recreate that.
Oh, like string lights.
Yeah,
yes.
Oh, okay.
String light. Yeah. I was going out.
You got fancy. When you're in Budapest for 6 weeks on sabbatical, what the hell are you talking about?
I really explained those lights.
You went way down a rabbit hole of nothing. String lights from Target. That's the one. Got it.
I just really wanted to rip on because I see them everywhere now.
Yeah.
Every we're gonna have a real mixture of food, and it's just a bunch of sunburnt whites with these market lights dangling down going, I sell these in a store, but I thought we might sell more if I brought it out here. And that's a lot of what these...
Yeah.
Remember we went to Smorgasbord at the Prospect Park last year, and it was just a lot of sweaty whites eating a lot of different food.
I have one better. Do you remember the Makers Market we went to recently?
Oh my God, that was so bad.
That was the worst.
It was... what part of Brooklyn was that? It was our neighborhood.
South Slope, yeah.
South Slope. Yeah, so it was in our neighborhood, and it was a real California... So let me back up. When we first moved here, I remember reading an article in the Times that was talking about the Californication of New York City.
Sure.
And they were saying how different restaurants and different things are feeding in. And maybe I don't see it that well because I'm from California, but when we went to that Makers Market, I'm like, this is Southern California Makers Market.
Is it called Artists and Fleas?
Yeah. No. Was it?
No, something like that.
It's called Olive and Fig or some crap. And
Olive and Mint.
Olive and Mint. And everyone's selling the same crap to the point where Emma and I were talking. I'm like, I bet you they don't even make this stuff. They just have a supplier in India that kids are stitching this crap together. And they're like, oh, I'll make it look like I made it.
And every booth is the same 3 colors, beige, white, and gray.
And taupe.
Yeah. It's what these maker markets are? It's strip malls of the 1990s. So like when you used to travel the country and just see strip malls everywhere with like a Jimmy John's and a Subway and like a coffee shop. That's what this is of like cities of like, oh, isn't this kitschy? Look at this mom with funky glasses selling yarn. And you're like, none of this is real.
I had a booth at an Artisan Fleas in Brooklyn for like 2 years.
Did you?
What were you selling?
I used to have a beard wash and like lotion company that I would make and sell a ton of it. It was pre like that's why this thing, remember?
Oh, that's why the mustache
was for, yeah. But but next to me was a guy that made sock puppets. So it was a real diverse group of sales, and he would just watch me sell all day because I'm a salesman, so I was just hucking and. He didn't sell. Not one person left there with a tube sock on their hand. I tell you that.
I just pictured a sad man with funny glasses, angrily stuffing sock puppets into a bag,
into his giant sock puppet, carried over his shoulder.
That reminds me of doing NACAs. Like, so the big conferences where you get booked for colleges. I remember the one where I got the most bookings. I had a good set, but I think a lot of the reason that I got good bookings is the booth next to me was giving away free smoothies.
There you go.
So there was a line of people to get free smoothies, and then they would turn and go, hey, you were funny. And then I'd get bookings. And I ended up, and I should have given that smoothie guy 10%. Because he did it for me. But right across from us, there were these Tibetan monks.
Sure.
With colored, they had a big table with like whatever, and they had colored sand, and they were making this gorgeous piece of art. Nobody cared. Nobody, like they're doing real beautiful, like religious, spiritual art over there. And this guy selling smoothies, crushing. I did a cat joke that slayed. And we're just over here mopping up money. And these monks are over there like, they'll come around. No one came around. Everyone's renting a bounce house, an exotic lion to come to their school.
I've never done an act. I forgot that's what it was. It wasn't just. It's not just comedy. It's anything that a college would want.
It's everything. Yeah. So I did maybe three or four of them. So sometimes you go on after a slam poet that goes up there and go like realize, and then everyone's like, and then they're like, and now the comedy stylings of Zoltan Kaszas.
And now cats, or not cats. He's gonna. You know what? Here he is.
Yeah, it was.
I'm booing you. That musical sucks, man.
You know who did a great? If you've never been to a NACA and want to know what it's like, Crashing. With Pete Holmes' show, he did an episode on NACA. And I remember my buddy Dave Callens, he texted me, he goes, I just watched this. You need to watch this episode and tell me if this is accurate. Because it was like a crazy portrayal, and I watched it. I'm like, that's very accurate. Like before you go in, there's like some grown 45-year-old man making balloon animals that isn't part of it, but kind of part of it. And he's like, I can come to your college. Like, what kind of balloon? And I'm like, oh my God, this is what people do for a living.
That's so crazy.
It's nuts. So, yeah. Well, I think I forgot to pitch this Safe Journal.
Yeah, you didn't do an intro.
Have you been waiting? And you're like, when's he going to do it?
Yeah, come on now.
Why am I here?
Wasting time.
Hey, everybody, do you have thoughts and know where to put them? And you're tired of yelling them at a bus stop? I'm going to look at that camera. Thank you. Thank you, Mike.
Also, that her and the book is all in it at the same time.
Yes.
Yeah, because you're talking about the Safe Journal.
Hey, do you see this green book over my pasty left knee? Do you see that with weird hair and splotches of bald? This is a beautiful journal made for your thoughts and feelings and fears, and also your good days. Did you have a good day? Do you ever have a good day? Well, mark it down. Quit just crying and sobbing up the pages and making the ink run. Write down something about a good day every once in a while, too, in your brand new Safe Journal. For a limited time only, 25% off when you put my name in the checkout area, code Zoltan, Z-O-L-T-A-N, 25% off, and a handwritten note from me. Whether you want it or not, it's coming, and I get to say whatever I want. If I'm having a bad day, I'm going to tell you about it. If I'm sitting nude in my living room with my schnutz folded over the couch, I might write that in. I might send a Polaroid.
That wasn't very on brand, but
that wasn't on brand with the Safe Journal. You know what it is? It's because these things are flying off the shelf.
Yeah,
they're flying off the shelf, and it's getting to the point where the ladies at the post office hate us, which is great because it's a little bit of payback.
And we're about to go retail too.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right.
What?
We're about to
We just got into our first bookstore.
first bookstore, first of many.
Books Are Magic in where is bookstore? In Carroll Gardens.
Carroll Gardens.
Yes.
So are we going there today or tomorrow to drop them
Next
off?
week, yeah.
Next week we're gonna go lug them over there. Yeah. So by the time this comes out, if you're in the Brooklyn area, go to Books Are Magic
Yes.
in Carroll Gardens. You can buy this yourself, but you know what you won't get? You won't get 25% off, and you won't get a handwritten note. The only way to get that is by typing Zoltan at checkout. Safe Journal, safejournal.co.
Good
I
job.
feel like I'm getting worse at these.
I think we should hand them over to Mike.
My next.
Safe Journals. Safejournal.co. Thoughts, prayers. And a store near that store that they just said that I forgot. Safejournal.co.
Not available in New
That's
Jersey. You know all those ones where they do like a gambling website and then they read, you might lose your ass like really quickly.
But come check out the $1 million winner. No, it's not going to work.
Sports gambling. Anyway, it's great. I didn't know what we were talking about before this, but things are good. It's hot, sweaty. You had a sleep apnea test that I think, did we record that part?
I don't think so. No.
All right.
I
You
think
had
we're
a
just
sleep
chatting.
apnea test.
Yeah.
You slept in a hospital.
Hospital bed.
So was it an actual hospital or like a medical
Yeah.
office?
It was a hospital.
Wow.
Where there was a sleep floor, and it was, not great. Put you. I felt like I was Pinhead from Hellraiser.
Yeah.
They just I was just covered in, like, my entire face was covered in all kinds of stuff, and I couldn't move. I was kind of just sitting there watching. They had 3 channels on the TV. It was the news, and Chicago PD. And the guy was like, "Oh, this is my favorite show." I go, "All right, cool." He seemed like a nice guy, but no. Just sat
Just
there.
like an orderly?
Yeah, it was still bright out. It was dinner time, and they're like, "Go to bed." I was like, "You just trying to make me have sleep apnea? This is insane." And you just talk through the wall. They're watching you all the time. It was tough.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I had scratches I couldn't scratch. It was like, are they gonna watch me? I didn't want them to know. I didn't want them to know I was scratching.
Yeah, like, can you sleep the way you want to sleep? Like, can you have one foot under the covers, one foot dangling off?
Well, I mean, my whole body was hanging off. It was a twin. He put the sides up for me. They got the bumper alley. And I didn't know. I should have asked, but I just assumed I could only sleep on my back. So I was just like, I didn't move until like the morning. I rolled over a little bit. He goes, "Oh, you didn't roll over at all last night." I was like, I could roll over? I thought I was going to ruin the test. Like, Jesus. But Becca wants me to have sleep apnea because it helped my snoring for her. And so, but her last text I got from her, she goes, "See you tomorrow. Hope you have a terrible night's sleep." Kind of do too. I would love a machine.
I shared a room with a buddy at a bachelor party, and he had sleep apnea. So he just had it's like a good white noise machine.
Yeah.
It's not bad to fall asleep next to that. You know. And him and his wife, I think, both have it, so they both mask up. Oh my God. Yeah, they both look like astronauts going to the moon, probably. And then, I hope they kiss and they just like touch nozzles, really quick.
That's like the modern equivalent of like going to bed and she's got her like comfy pajamas on. You know you're not gonna have sex. You walk into bed, she's got the mask on. Like, well, I guess we're not doing anything tonight. Like, dang it.
She opens the robe though, nothing on, just the mask.
Keep it on.
That'd be interesting if you had coitus with the masks on and then all the cords got tangled. So you're all just wrapped up in there. You're like,
The adult braces.
that'd be a fun 911 call. Tell them to bring bolt cutters.
You got any wire snippers? You can bring them.
That'd be funny to see. I'd love to see that. If anyone in movie land can put that in a movie, just shoehorn in that scene for no reason.
Just the whole movie about it. Sleep? ?
That'd be fun. It was. I forget if last week we talked about the because I think we talked about it at the end. But did we talk about the TikTok dance documentary?
I think a little bit, yeah.
Oh, we ended up talking about it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Well, damn.
I think briefly.
I
Briefly.
think you guys talked about it after the podcast.
It was after, right?
Oh, we talked about it on Bone to Pick. That's what it was.
I brought it. Oh, Verzi brought it up on Bone to Pick,
Yeah.
which was funny because that was my backup idea in case someone else did the suit jacket that was too long. But yeah, he brought it up just like on how dumb the people are that are in cult documentaries.
Yeah.
And which is fair. No one participates in a cult documentary and then comes out looking great afterwards. No, no matter what side, whether you're the leader or the follower, no one comes out smelling like gravy. No. Everyone's got a little bit on them.
Yeah.
You know, you're like, that was a little on you.
I think I watched it. The tough part for me was like, man, all these people are hot though. It's like hot dudes, hot chicks dancing around. I'm like, I'm here for it. You never see a hot cult. It's always just like weirdos with their eyes going each way and like teeth coming out like this. I'm like, yeah, well, that makes sense. These are like incredibly fit, attractive people. I'm like, well, how did you get involved? Maybe it isn't a cult. I start dancing. I'm like, I think I could join.
Well, I don't know if this is good PR for dancers or hot people, but dumb as a sack of rocks.
Yeah.
like sack of rocks dumb. If you don't know, I'll give you a brief synopsis. These TikTok dancers got big on social media, got a bunch of following, whatever. And I guess still moving, even with social media, the goal of a dancer is still to move to LA to, I guess, get into a music video or something, maybe go on tour. So, like, well, I don't know, who's a big star? Rodrigo or Olivia? Is that one of them?
Olivia Rodrigo?
There we go.
I think she's a singer.
Yeah, you can be in the background going, just tearing your meniscus back there. And so that's the plan, but then they got swooped up by this cult leader who's running a church. The best part was he's like an Asian guy with like a thick accent, and so he speaks. I'm not gonna do it.
Somewhere in the back of your mind, I can see you like, should I do it?
I'm not gonna do it. You know, so the podcast we did yesterday, Robert Kelly did full Asian. Like did a full 1980s.
He's kind of grandfathered in.
Yeah.
He's in his 50s. He's kind of still allowed to do
He's
it.
like, what? I saw this on Evening at the Improv in '89. and me and I don't know how old Paul Verzi is. I think he might be closer to my age, but we were. I just remember going, "Can I get out of this camera shot?"
Yeah, cut me out of this. Go to his one. Go to his single.
I just get blurred for that scene.
You started hiding behind him. You were like, this one point, you were like.
That's true. But I don't know, there's something about like if your cult leader doesn't speak English great, isn't that like I don't know, like that draws up like red flags for me.
A little bit, yeah.
Like I'm like, oh, let me just Google this because it looks like you might not have been here long and you might not be staying that long. So I might just give it a little extra Google search, but I've always had my radar out for like scammy people.
Oh yeah.
Like I remember my in when I was in high school, I was at work. I worked at the retirement home. My coworker, he and I were supposed to go to like a football game after our shift. And he's like, "Hey, I actually have a business meeting at Starbucks. Do you want to come with me?" And I'm like, "What?" And we were already in the car together, so I had to go with him. And we go, and there's like some guy in his like early 30s with like an old laptop, even for 2003. And it was a multi-level marketing scheme. It was like where he sells stuff, but then he has to pay this guy back, but he gets to like make a profit on it. And he was explaining this, and I'm just like, this is a scam. Even at 16 or however old I was, I'm like, how dumb are you? And he was dumb. So like him falling for this wasn't shocking, but I'm like, I don't know. And I remember the guy looked at me, he said something along the lines of like, how do you plan on making $1 million? And I'm like, I guess I just never will. I just kind of gave him that so he would stop talking to me. I'm like,
shh. Don't say it, dude. No, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a good meter for. My dad was a used car salesman my whole life, so I like grew up kind of like being able to sniff out nonsense.
Yeah, you smell it.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I wonder if those two guys ever meet each other, kind of like two used car salesmen meeting each other, and then it's like a chess match, and then they're like, "Whoa, all right." Yeah.
What do I gotta do to quit? No, don't do it.
I remember Daryl.
Yeah.
Daryl Jones, who I talk about in my special. He once made he was like the worst at car dealerships because he'd go over there, he's smoking, and he's like, what's your bottom dollar on this car? And they're like, what? And they're like, well, how much is, he's pretty much saying, what's the least amount of money you're willing to let this go for so we can cut the crap? And he went there to buy his stepdaughter a car once, and the guy wasn't working with him. And he's like, there's this other customer that wasn't happy with the amount they were trying to give him for a trade-in. And then so Daryl and this guy made a deal for the car he was trying to trade in. He bought it for his daughter on the lot of like some Honda dealership or Toyota dealership. And they were so mad at him. Of course. He's like, I got cash right now. And he got his daughter a car. And he was like a good sniffer of around that kind of stuff. But yeah, you watch this, it was hard to feel bad for the people in the TikTok cult dance documentary because in between they're just dancing. Yeah. So while they're like, I wasn't allowed to talk to my mom, there'd just be cutaways of like all
really good dancing.
Really good dancing. And I'm like, man, it's so hard to feel bad for you because you're smiling right now. You know, even when they were trying to do dramatic dancing, it was still like, I'm like, that's still dancing. I'm like, how sad can you be? Like, every time I've danced, I've been happy. I've been happy every time I've like last night I got hungry at midnight and I made quesadillas. Do you guys have a cheese dance? I have a cheese dance where if I'm in the kitchen drilling cheese or I'm making a quesadilla, like in between, I just do a little jig and I'm like, nom, nom, nom. I'll dip into the shredded cheese. Like, how do you not dance while eating cheese?
3 fingers of shredded cheese is a good time. If you're not dancing on a 3-finger bang, that's a good time.
I'm over here making pepper jack quesadillas at midnight. There's smoke coming up. The cats are wondering what's going on. I'm over here taking pinches of, putting little packs into my lip of
dip of cheese. I get a dip of pepper jack. Ooh, what's that, Italian blend?
Last night we went to Pasta Louise and he came by and he gave us a cup of Parmesan to throw over the pasta noodles. And when he dropped it off, I had to stop myself from just like giving a little shimmy. I'm like, the cheese is here. I don't know. I love cheese.
I get dance excited at a fresh bag of chips.
Ooh.
Because I have to open a bag and I have to smell that first whiff of like chip air.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is, but
fart.
I love it. Yeah, it is what it is. It's a chip fart. We didn't have chips growing up. Like, we had nothing. My dad he'd have one bag of chips and he was always saving it. Well, we save for a special occasion. I was like, Dad, it's plain Lay's. Who are you trying to impress?
Who's coming over?
Maybe get a new job. Sell a few more cars. Because this is not special. And there is no occasion.
There's a special occasion.
There's not.
It's Friday. Is that good enough? Let's rip these chips open.
You just stare at a bag of Lay's in the cabinet being like, one day, I'm going to get these things open.
Did you guys ever have I don't know if you remember this, or if they made it up to Canada, but like late 90s, they came out with fat-free chips called Wow.
Yeah, it was oleine. Was it oil?
Yeah, it was some sort of oil, but it was fat-free. So you should ideally be able to drill as many of these as you want, but the side effect was it gave you the runs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so I remember my mom and I got the chips and we're plowing them. And this is a one-toilet trailer we're living in. And so there was a very nervous line outside you've seen the one bathroom. And there was 4 of us in that house, and we're just all in line. Like, I'm going to be in a bucket.
You always just hear the chips opening and the door to the bathroom lock at the same time, like someone's in there. The oleine is the oil. First of all, side effects to a food, they shouldn't have those. Diarrhea, loose stool, abdominal cramps, and flatulence.
Which, to be fair, we had 2 out of the 4 on a regular basis anyway. I ate a lot of Hot Pockets growing up. You're not going to have solid stool eating a Hot Pocket as a regular part of your diet.
Did you ever save the Hot Pocket sleeve and put other things in there? Because you're like, it's crisping that up. I wonder if it crisps other stuff up. I did.
So silly.
It's so dumb. Such a fat, poor kid thing to do.
We didn't have the chips that the Wow you said it's called.
Yeah.
But we had ketchup chips in
Canada.
That's those are so good.
Yeah, that's a big Canada delicacy is ketchup chips.
Have you had?
And that and all dressed.
Oh yes.
That's a big Canadian chip.
What's all dressed?
Like
or what's the flavor?
How would you describe it?
It's like salt,
everything.
vinegar, barbecue, ranch. It's like all the different flavored chips all piled onto one chip.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Someone got high at the chip factory.
Someone went, we have free healthcare. Throw it all in there.
It's kind of like when it's late night, you came back from the bar and you're like, I'm going to make ramen. And then you see all these leftover flavor packs from other ramens that you haven't used. And you're like, whoosh, and then you do that. And then you're knocking on the door to get into that toilet again. Whatever the hell I was talking about. Chips. Colts. That's what we were talking about.
Colts and chips.
Colts and chips.
Yeah.
I think the only part of the documentary I felt bad was when they talked about the non-dancers. Those two Asian girls that got caught up in the cult before he moved into dance management. Did you?
I didn't see that part.
You didn't see that part?
I don't think I finished it.
Oh, okay. It's like multiple episodes.
Yeah.
So they cover the dancers, but then they reveal like, hey, before he did this, he also like had a different cult from before, same church, but he caught other people involved. But then he ended up losing his followers, and then his way to save it was by going after these dancers. But you listen to the non-dancers and you feel bad for them because after their interviews, they're not dancing in the like editing. Like they're not just over there going, like, oh, and then he made me massage him. And then they're just over here doing this.
I'd love to see a show like So You Think You Could Dance, but I want to say So You Think You Could Cult. And you just get a whole bunch of like easily influenced people and then put them in the competition, like who's the best cult leader. I would watch the hell out of it.
In the same line of thinking, when we were done with the documentary, I was sitting with you on the couch and I was like, hey, do you think these people that are on this documentary get inundated with extra spam calls and emails? Because now we know they're suckers and rubes.
Yeah, the junk mail at cult churches must be piled with credit card offers.
Listen, I'm so sorry you were in a cult. Have you heard of timeshares? I really want to sell you a timeshare.
What do you think about LuLaRoe and oils that you could sell your friends and family?
Wait, what was that? Herbalife?
Yeah, Herbalife is still around.
But it's still, my mom sold that. Do you know what that is? Mm-mm. It's like, there were vitamins, but it was the same thing, like, kind of like Mary Kay, where people can sell makeup. Mm-hmm. You get a box of vitamins and you sell them to your friends, and once your friends buy them, you're kind of out. And then my mom did it for a while. We got all these Herbalife pills, and then we ended up taking a bunch of them.
We had friends growing up that his dad got into that for some. He was a very successful guy, and he started selling Herbalife. It was so strange. And my dad, again, same thing. My dad doesn't stand for any of that, and he went to a party that he was throwing, and it turned into an Herbalife pitch, and he left. He was like, "Hey, man, don't ever do this to me again. I'm never going to do any of this." And he got pissed. I don't think they started talking much after that.
Yeah, that would piss me off.
Yeah.
Don't sell me.
He was like upset. He's like, "How dare you not join my thing?" He was very mad.
Yeah. Strange. That guy was mad.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought your dad was mad.
No, he was like, "Screw this." But then the other guy was like, they didn't want to talk to him anymore. Very culty.
Maybe that was his long game. He's like, eventually, I'm going to sell Herbalife, and I'm going to try to sell you on it. But if you ever say no, I'll never talk to you again. Yeah, it's a different... Because you're good at selling, but you have this weird thing where I actually like you. There's very few people that are good at selling because you come off genuine. You don't come off phony.
Yeah.
You seem like a regular guy. Also, our friend Brandon, he's really good at selling, but I like him because that's who he is. He's just a fun guy that people like to hang out with. But then there's other people.
I think I didn't, and my dad stopped me from being in car sales because it's something I could very easily get into, and he's got connections all over the place. And I stayed away because I was like, I would be good at this, and I don't want to be good at this.
Right.
This is not the life. I don't want to be a used car salesman. Sorry, Dad.
Yeah,
I'm the family business.
No slight on any of that, but I don't think there's like a huge prerequisite to be a used car salesman.
No.
Yeah,
to be a good one though.
To be a good one, that's what separates you. But to try, that's like Jimmy O Yang was a used car salesman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dane and I, my buddy back home, we laugh about it because he sold. We traded in his lemon, and he sold us a lemon for my buddy Dane. So it was like they both screwed each other. Because Dane had a truck that was blown up, and I knew Jimmy from comedy, and he had just started working at this used car dealership. I'm like, let me call Jimmy. Maybe he's got a truck. Because he was always posting, like, well, what car is he selling? And I was like, hey, my buddy's got a truck. It's a little rough. I lied a little too, like, because his engine was blown.
Yeah.
Like, so bad that Dane told me when he pulled up to the dealership, it died. And he barely rolled it into a parking spot. And thankfully they didn't turn it on or try it because they trusted him because of me. And then he's like, oh, he left. He's like, I'm in a new truck. I think I really screwed Jimmy over. But then his truck broke down a week later. It had the same issue that the other one that he turned in. And I was like, well, I guess everyone got their comeuppance on that one.
That's tough.
Yeah. But I mean, look at him now. He's like a Hollywood superstar. So you can go from used cars to anything else after that.
No, that's a motivational speech right
It
there.
isn't it? Like, it's not where you start, it's where you finish. All right? Like, one time I worked, it was a temp job for a week. I worked for this guy who rented out snow cone machines. And it was a 2-man operation, and the guy that worked his warehouse area was taking a week vacation, so I came in. And people would come in going, I got to rent this stupid snow cone machine for my kid's fundraiser at a school, and then I'd set them up with all the crap. Go, there you go. That was a pretty sad job.
I just read Terry Cruz's autobiography, and it's pretty wild because he was an NFL player, and then he didn't make any money, and then ended up sweeping floors at a warehouse overnight and working security on movie sets.
Whoa.
Yeah, just had he had like $8 to his name at one point.
Did he end up being on that reboot of American Gladiators?
Yeah, it was called like Thunderdome or something like that.
I watched that. He was T-Money.
That was his first
Oh, that
TV
was his
job.
first gig.
Yeah.
Good
He got
for him.
discovered working security on a movie set, and so a makeup artist was like, he was on a security set for a Stallone movie, and a security guard goes, "How you should be a movie in movies? Like, you have the look, and you're huge."
Yeah.
And then he ended up being in a Stallone movie and went to the makeup trailer and went, "Remember me?"
Wow.
Yeah, really crazy turn of events.
That's insane.
Great book, highly recommend.
Yeah, it's funny how, like, if you're...
And by read, I listened. To be clear.
That still counts. I feel like you actually retain more by listening.
And he reads it.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to read it from the person who wrote it?
Yeah. I don't want... Yeah. Exactly. You don't want someone else. Like, what? This isn't even the right person.
Bourdain reads his books. I love them. I only listen to ones that the people read it that wrote it. Those are great.
The only one I've listened to is the Rick Rubin book, the creativity book that came out. And they have it on Spotify of him reading it. Yeah. And it's even better with him reading. Because my voice, like, my internal monologue, when I read something positive, it's done with, like, sarcasm. You can accomplish anything. But when the actual person is reading it without sarcasm, I'm like, this is some good information here.
All right.
Yeah, audiobooks can be a lot. They stick more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I also zone out a lot when I read.
I also read a lot of books like driving, and I was like, I got to get this on tape. This is a real distraction.
You're just over there.
Just fucking do it.
I'm always jealous about the people that can read a book on like a treadmill or a elliptical.
What are you doing?
Yeah, how are you seeing that? Like, are you about to yak everywhere?
Also, we get it. You're doing good for yourself.
Yeah, my body and my mind. My body and my mind. I'm the ultimate animal. Get
Let me
out
guess,
of
your
here.
brain's a muscle too?
Yeah,
Shut up.
You're getting half a read and half a workout. You're not committing to either of these things.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those people, we did, because we make fun of working out a lot, but we went rock climbing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we went indoor rock climbing. This is our second time. And we had, you said something so funny because we were looking at, and it was hurting our hands after we had been climbing for a while. And I was like, whoa, everyone had the sacks, you know? Yeah. And she's like, where do we get the flour? Like, I think and you meant it genuinely. And I started laughing just like...
You're like, I think it's baking soda.
And I was like, what? And she was like, I think I need flour for my hands.
That's so funny.
Like, I wish it was flour. And when you're done, there's some cookies at the end. These real Cliff Bar cookies. I would love to bring a sack of flour in there and just...
They should use flour.
Confectioner
Just
sugar.
bring the bag with you. It's 00. It's meant for pizza. You're just flying up a wall.
I like to lick them so they stick. We had such a good time rock climbing.
It's so fun.
It was I think one of the reasons we talked about it afterwards, why we liked it so much, it was like the gym was full, but it was as quiet as a library. All right, no one's talking.
No music?
No music.
There's no music.
Quiet as a library. People are just climbing, and if they're not climbing, they're looking at the wall going, how the hell am I going to climb this wall? Because it's a puzzle. Each one, like, you got to stick to the color or whatever. And then so it's like a puzzle to try to get up
That's how
top.
I like it, man. Color sticking together. Sorry.
No, it was the audience that was there. The climbers that were there. It was a real Brooklyn crowd. You know, they had some funny haircuts, hairy legs on people you wouldn't normally see.
There were a lot of hairy legs.
A lot of hairy legs on the ladies. But I think it helps you climb better. I honestly think it does. I think if you're slick, you're going to like slide off. You need a little natural grip, some flour and some good hair on your legs, and you're going to shimmy up there like a cat. But yeah, it was funny because like I liked them because they were all antisocial.
Yeah.
It was an antisocial workout, which I'm all for. That's why I like boxing. That's why I kind of enjoy running, because you do it by yourself. But then we go to Prospect Park, and there's these people that have running groups, like a giant gaggle of like 50 people will run and have small talk while they run. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, are you that lonely? Like, are you like, you can't do it? I want to stop and go, let me guess, you've never gone to the movies by yourself. Like, you're just like, I can't run the park by myself.
And who are you talking while you run?
Yeah, that pisses me off so much.
So
like,
especially when they pass you.
Yeah. Like,
it's like, you're going to run fast for me and talk.
Yes. Like, if I'm running, I'm not talking.
Neither am I.
If you're saying anything to me, I'm like, after. Like,
I remember we ran together, and I was trying to point at a tree that had fallen over from like a storm. It was like this big ass tree that fell over, and I was like, "Whoa!" And I couldn't say it, but I just pointed at it, and
like,
you gave me a look like, not now. Like, we're running, and then this giant group of runners just blows past us, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this Saturday is Emma's birthday," la 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 la, and we're like, drown in a ditch, dude. What are you doing?
I'd only be good at answering questions if I'm running. That's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, if I'm confused, it's I got nothing that's coming out.
Do you mind shutting up? I'm trying not to die over here. I got no breath. You want me to talk?
How are you talking? That's all crazy. I want to say. But yeah, all those groups, because then there's also the bike riders that come by. And she always asks me, she's like, do you want to rent city bikes and go around Prospect Park? And I like the idea of that. But the problem is around sunset, that's when these large gaggle of like Speedo wearing bikers, and they haul it. How fast are they going? Like 40 miles an hour?
So fast.
They're flying. And we watched a girl on a city bike, and and all she hears is a freight train coming behind her of people yelling, on your left! And it's just, woo! And she's like, oh my God.
She looked terrified.
Like, that looked like a scene out of a movie. Like, can you imagine taking an edible, renting a city bike going, and there's just a freight train of humans coming past you? I'd flip into a ditch. Like,
just leave it.
Yeah.
This is where the bike lives now. I'm not returning it.
I saw a guy bring a city bike onto a subway, and I was like, there's more of them. There's going to be another one. Yeah, that makes no sense unless you like stole it and hotwired it to
and now it's yours.
No, this is my city bike. There's people doing that with the bird scooters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I remember Dave Callens I like how I'm calling him out. He stole one in San Diego and he hotwired it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then he brought it over to my house. I'm like, you can just leave that in the street. He's like, no, this is mine.
I don't think it is. Pretty sure that's not yours. They're throwing them into the waterways in like Portland and stuff. That's great.
I loved it. I hated those. You knocked over a stack of them, didn't you?
Did I?
I feel like we did that once. Like you kicked
sounds
over.
Like me.
Yeah, it sounds like something. She likes to kick things. She's got a good kick. And you knocked over a stack of them, and we laughed.
I flipped one once. I went all full flip over, landed on my back, got up, picked it up, kept going.
Oh my God.
That's why you got sleep apnea.
That might be. Yeah, I think I broke my spine.
In your thorax. Good Lord. Yeah. Did you ever ride one?
Not actually. I have in Chicago. I don't know if it's the city bikes, but
Same
it's
thing.
similar.
Yeah. I can't do it. I know I'll get hurt. I know it.
In Chicago, Becca was drunk on one and fell, broke her nose in front of a hospital.
Oh my God.
And just got up and walked right into the door. She's like, well, I got a broken face.
Oh my God.
Pretty funny.
That's not. I mean,
That's so funny.
It's hilarious. It's hilarious.
I
Were you
can't-
there?
No, it was her and her brother after a game or something, some game they went to go see, and then they just like, just got on city bikes or bird scooters, and then she just took a hot one to the face.
Oh my God.
That's the one I can't. I like people falling, but I like them to be like chubbier because it looks like they bounce a little, and
You
I'm
want
like,
them
they're
to be
fine.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they fall on their back, and you're like, that's plenty of meat. You're good.
Yeah.
You know. But like when I saw a bird scooter one where it's like a girl, like a college girl, and it gets into the hole of a planter, like of a tree, and she just face plants, and you know all her teeth are gone.
Yeah, I've actually seen that too in Florida.
Yeah, that's right.
A girl like knocked a bunch of her teeth out. There's blood everywhere.
And you know what the worst thing is when that happens to you? Is you get up, you look up, and you don't know what the damage is, but you can see other people's faces. And it's just like some other person looking back at you going, oh, God, sit down.
I flipped mine on the way to a corporate gig. I had like dirt on half my body. And I was like, I got to get there. So I continued. I just stayed kind of to the left. I just was cockeyed the whole time. Like, hey, how's everyone doing today? Everyone doing all right? It's so stupid.
It's kind of like that movie, The Drummer. What was that one called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
The drummer.
Look who's quoting movies now.
Wait.
I'm not going to quote it. I'm just going to tell you what happened. It's a movie about a drummer with the mean teacher.
Oh, with the teacher from the dad from Juno.
Yeah.
The dad from Juno's a drummer.
Whiplash?
Whiplash.
Yes.
Yeah, he gets into a car accident and he still goes to the gig.
That's right. And he's all messed up and he's
Yeah.
still trying to.
Yeah.
That's so. I'm not doing any of that. No. Yeah, because I one time I crashed not a bird scooter, but like those half of motorcycles. Like a Vespa scooter.
Yeah.
I crashed one of those in Mexico, and it was before I'd just done a cruise and I had time to kill, and I made friends with this guy. And so he's like, let's rent scooters. And I didn't tell him I'd never been on one. And there's no training. They just give it to you.
Yeah.
And so I crashed it. And I was really bloody. And I went to the airport bleeding. And they had no Band-Aids or anything. So I had to go to the bathroom and I wrapped my wounds in toilet paper.
Oh, God.
So like I go on the plane and my legs wrapped in my hands are just wrapped in toilet paper. I look like I was in like a small fire. and I had a 5-hour trip, and then now the adrenaline's wearing off, and like it hurts so bad.
Oh, yeah.
And I had the Uber take me to a Rite Aid at midnight when I got back to San Diego, and then it was just me buying all this first aid kit, like everyone else buying
Covered
alcohol.
in blood.
Yeah, covered in blood. And I'm like, no, this is from Mexico. This is fine. I had to tend to my wounds. I'm like, this is why I don't do these things, because every
Yeah.
time I do something, I get hurt.
Yeah, I remember one time we went bike riding in San Diego. I don't know if you remember this.
Oh, I know, because this is a story you love to bring up.
This is when we first met. And I'm like, hey, do you want to go bike riding? I love bike riding. And I didn't know Zoltan doesn't like bike riding.
It's not that I don't like it. I love bike riding. I just don't want to be around cars and things that can kill me.
And so Zoltan's like, yeah, I love bike riding. He was not happy.
Well, it's when you took us downtown.
Oh my God.
You took us downtown, and then you just booked it. You're all fast and stuff, and I'm back there, like I'm being sideswiped by a mail truck. I'm having the worst time back there.
Sure.
And then you're like, "Are you having a good time?" I'm like, "No." I just had my snap moment.
That was the first time I saw you snap.
Yeah. And then when you told Dane about it, he was like, "Oh, this is only the first time? Oh, all right. There's many more of those to come." Yeah, because especially in an early part of the relationship, I'm trying my best to not be myself.
Yeah.
You know, so like adventurous. Remember, I bought a skateboard.
Yeah.
I bought a few months after we started dating. I'm like, oh yeah, let's get a skateboard. I'll get a skateboard. And then what do? We go to the park. It's a longboard. I take my shirt off. It's in the sun. I flip, it shoots out, I'm horizontal, I come down, my nipple slaps the hot asphalt, everyone sees, and then I get up and I'm like, oh, that's why I don't do that.
Yeah.
Because every time I do, I get hurt.
Yeah.
My second date with Becca, she was like, oh, let's go take a picnic. I have this whole picnic basket thing set. We'll go. I was like, oh, great. And then she had to go buy a picnic basket. And she started like scuffing stuff up to make it look like she had used it before. She's never never used it again. I was like, oh, she's a picnic kind of girl. I like it.
That's a real, like, that's almost like a guy mentality.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what did I agree to?
I made a big thing of hummus. I've never made hummus again. We both were lying on that date. It was perfect.
I remember the first time you came over, I had to like buy more pillows. I only had one pillow and a towel, so I had to run to Target. And she's like, "Whoa, this one towel is really new. Whoa, these one pillow is like."
Yeah,
really...
I use a lot of fabric softeners.
yeah, that one's all good. It's just like brand new woman shampoo, and then there's like this old crusty one with hair on it. Yeah, I was really trying to make that garage not look like a garage.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did a good job though.
I tried.
I was impressed.
I was so, because I saw your place first, and your place was this nice condo in Florida, and then I'm like, then you came to visit me in San Diego, and I live in a garage, and I didn't tell you that, that's something you keep to yourself.
Like an actual garage?
It was a converted garage into a studio apartment.
Wow.
And
did you have to have a door opener to get in? Like a garage?
The worst part is I didn't know what it was. So because it had a back entrance through the alley where I would come in, park, and then there's a gate to my front yard and then a side entrance through a real door. And so I lived there for a whole month before I found out it was a garage. Because at first I'm like, oh, it's a little granny flat in the back. It's nice, a little rough, but it's nice. And then, I was always on the road. So I finally came back. I had to throw the trash out. And I was like, where are the trash cans? And then I went to the front of the building. I threw it in and I'm like, why is there a garage door on my building? And then I'm like, oh, am I, because I was 30 at the time, I'm like, am I a 30-year-old man living in a garage? Like, I felt so happy with that place for the first 30 days, and then the rest of it, I'm like, I was just laying in bed, I'm like, this is where cars used to park. There's like old lawnmowers right here, and I'm just over here trying to sleep.
Oh, is that why the landlord keeps cutting wood in my bedroom? Oh, damn it. Screwed up.
None of that place made sense. Like, it was clearly made by a guy. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I changed none of it. Like, the sink to the bathroom was really high. So I'd wash my hands like this. Like, my mom, who's tiny, would come over.
It was a mop sink.
Yeah. She's like, what? I had to give her a step. She had to stand on a box of litter so that she could go wash her hands in that place. Because my mom's tiny. I barely made it in. He made it for a giant. I don't even know who he made it for.
It was cute, though.
It was cute. Yeah. He was a nice landlord, but he was also... He was a schemer. Like, he was fair to me, but I remember he came over and talked to me once. He's like, sometimes he was just making small talk. He's like, sometimes you got to go to the grocery store and at checkout, sometimes I'll negotiate with them. And they'll be like, oh, it's 150. He's like, you would take 125? And I'm like, they agree to that? And they're like, no, they never do, but it never hurts to ask. I'm like, I think it should.
It's already a no, and they ask. All right.
And then I remember he had, on my last day, because we were moving in together, I didn't have time to pack everything, so I'm still packing stuff. And then he goes, hey, do you need some help? I can send some guys over. And he sent 2 goons over who just like threw everything out of my shit, out of my thing into a truck, and then drove it over to our new place. And I was like, thanks for your help. And he goes, no, it's a symbiotic relationship. Like, he wanted me out of there. And he hired his goons. Like, I didn't even get a chance to say goodbye. Like, I was like emotionally invested into that garage. That was a place, when I moved in there, it was right after my last relationship. I had nothing. And I had a dog bed. Like, I had no bed, so my mom gave me like a fold-out pad that you give to guests. So I'm in this garage with like, it looked like a dog bed.
Wait,
and
like a pad on the floor?
Like a pad. It wasn't even an air mattress. It was a pad. And I had one pillow and a blanket. I remember my first night, I got a bottle of wine. I set up the Xbox. I'm sitting on a pad. The place came with a TV because I didn't have one. And I'm just playing Madden, drinking straight out of the bottle because I don't have a glass. And my only plate was a cutting board that I stole from my last place. And I was like, life's pretty good. But then when I left, like, I was in such a better place. I was happy. My life was more put together. And I wanted to have like a goodbye to my garage. And then these 2 goons came in and just threw all my crap out.
They moved their shit in.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, I never got to say goodbye to the garage. It's a piece of me.
Aww.
I love that little garage.
Yeah, you did.
It was embarrassing, though. Like, to see. Remember when we brought friends over? I was like, ugh. It only had 2 windows. And one of them was in the bathroom. And the other one was in the kitchen. So it was just this dark dungeon.
I had 2 chairs. One was a regular chair, and one was just a riding lawnmower.
It was bad. But I mean, yeah, I tried to make it as nice as possible. I got custom coasters from a guy on Etsy who took old pro wrestling like posters, pay-per-view posters, and put them on coasters. And I'm like, that's classy. That's like, that's classy, and it has something I like. And so I ordered those, and I showed them off when Dane came up. My buddy came over. I'm like, look at these coasters, dude. It's Royal Rumble '93 right there.
I love the idea of you. It's classy, but you have no idea what class is. Like, no, did you know PBR makes caviar? Caviar's pretty good.
I have natural white trash tendencies because we got these. What's the beer that we got? The foreign beer, Buddha, the thirsty Buddha, and the beer bottle is in the shape of a Buddha. So it's like a nice beer bottle. He's looking it up.
I need to see what it is.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's called Thirsty Buddha.
it's something Buddha.
something Buddha.
Something.
Oh yeah, Lucky Buddha.
Lucky Buddha.
Yeah.
And then the beer bottle's in the shape of a big.
That does look classy.
Yeah, and I was drinking one of the beers, and I turned to Emma. I'm like, should I rinse this out? We could put like a rose in it or something. And she's like, how about you leave the interior design to me?
I'm trying to figure out who's worse in this scenario. You for doing that, or you for being like, this is my guy.
You know what I'm happy about? I'm happy to be in a relationship where I can throw these ideas out, and I feel confident to know that she'll at least ponder it before she laughs at me. She goes, no, we're not going to be collecting empty beer bottles and putting roses in them because it seems to be a nice beer bottle.
All my liquor at home is stashed away because I had like a little bar set up, and Becca's like, this isn't sophomore year. Like, let's hide these achievements away, pal.
Achievements. Yeah, we're keeping empty booze bottles like they're trophies. Oh yeah, that was
Line them up all over the wall. Check me out.
New Year's Eve 08. Look at this.
It was a good year. Sad to say goodbye to 08. I was finding you got to. I know now that the fancier the bottle of alcohol is, the worse the alcohol. That's how I've decided. If it's a really like classy bottle, I'm like, it's not going to be.
It's not going to be good.
Yeah,
Interesting.
Yeah, they're trying to church up the junk on the inside.
I remember there was a clear moment in my 20s when I realized, it sometimes comes in glass. Because like the real cheap vodka would come in plastic, like a little blue, and I'd be like, oh yeah, pop off. Yeah, I'll put that in some orange juice. That's pretty good. And it would be horrible. It tastes like poison. And they're like, how is that? I'm like, it's awful, but it's cheap.
Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. But there's a lot of it.
Check it out now. There's flowers in it.
I have naturally white trash friends because Dane prefers bad whiskey. Like, we're old enough to like have good ones, but he's like, I feel bad pouring Coca-Cola into this.
Yeah.
So he likes Evan Williams.
Sure.
Like in a big plastic jug with Coca-Cola, and
If
we're
you're
like,
whiskeys and diets, like that's a whiskey
Yeah.
Coke is like, just put some junk in there. Mask the flavor of a real Pappy's 12 year. I couldn't get the word out.
what were you burping right there?
I don't know what I was doing. Peppy's. I think I might have burped actually.
I'm like, I've been there. There's times when you and I are at a restaurant, we're having a conversation, I try to whisper, and then just a little one comes out, and then you're like, damn it.
It stinks.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know why they put so much garlic in it. Like, I'm trying to, you shouldn't have that much garlic in a date restaurant, all right? We're trying to get close. I'm over here burning her nose hairs with my garlic burps.
Yeah, going to an Italian restaurant on a first date, it's a terrible idea.
Oh, yeah. Imagine Indian. Like, we're comfortably in a relationship where we can order delicious Indian food and then with class take turns putting each other's diapers on, and, so we can have a lovely evening home. I think that was a line from American Dad. Did you ever watch American Dad?
Off and on.
Yeah, the alien Roger was like, get me the diaper I wear after having Indian food. I think that's where I got that from. Yeah. I think we're close to an hour, probably.
54? That's pretty close.
Yeah. Well, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to quickly throw in here before we
These fly
bounce out
by.
of here.
This is a good time.
This is fun. It's the more we have fun, the more they have fun. That's deep, right? I thought.
Did you write that in your safejournal.co?
Oh, here's some short ideas I wrote down, and you can yay or nay agree. The best part of like watching travel vlog couples on YouTube is Emma and I try to guess which one's gonna end up murdering the other.
Sure.
I'm like, I could see her doing it. You know?
What was the fight right before they hit record?
Because you follow a couple of not just travel vlog couples, but like interior design, home decor typey ones, and then they're just like all happy, and then out of nowhere you're like, they broke up, and you're like, you knew it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then they try to make the worst is when they try to make their breakup look like all holy, where they're like, we communicated about it and we both decided that we're gonna break up, but we're on good terms and we still love each other and we're still gonna hang out. But sometimes you just have to decide. You have to decide for yourself if you want to break up, and you got to do it. You got to do what you got to do. And they just go on and they make it look all, I don't know.
And the camera pans to him and he's like, That's what it was.
I always want to leave a comment under there and go, boo, tell us the dirt. Tell us the dirt. Yeah. Who's in debt? Who had the secret sports gambling addiction? Who sold the van?
Which one of you found out the other one's mom's still paying their rent? Paying their portion.
It's true. Anything else I wrote down? I think that might have been it. Yeah, that might have been it. I haven't taken a dump in 3 days. That was about it.
Oh,
well,
thanks
good.
for letting us know.
I know. I don't know why I'm so backed up.
Rip a cigarette. That always works for me.
Cigs do it for you?
Always do it.
I don't
Just hit
smoke,
one.
but I might start. That'd be the dumbest reason to start smoking cigarettes. What got you started? Were you trying to keep calm in high school? No. I was constipated when I was 37, and I was doing a podcast, and I was informed. That's like how Artie Lang started doing heroin.
Really?
He was at the Tempe Improv, and he was doing pain pills, Vicodins or whatever. And then he asked somebody there, he's like, hey, do you know anyone I can get Vicodins? He's like, and there's like, how many do you need? And he's like, I need this much, and it was a lot. And he's like, how many of those do you take a day? And he told him, and the club manager, who's now dead, he was like, oh, you should just do heroin because that stuff's really bad for your kidneys. That's what he wrote. I read it in his book. He started doing heroin because he was like, oh, all the pain pills were bad for my kidneys. And
Look at health conscious junkie. I like it. I like to see it.
But anyway, that's the show for this week. Don't forget to safejournal.co, Zoltan at checkout, 25% off. And a note, go to zoltancomedy.com and come see me live. And the special, Honorary Jones. Watch it again. Put it on a loop. Are you at a dentist office and the receptionist went to the restroom? Grab that remote. Put that TV on my special and then steal the remote. Do you have pets? Leave them on something while you leave for the day. My voice has been described as buttery smooth. Put my special on. Put it on a loop. Put on Honorary Jones and to White Lies and then to Modern Male and just have it run. Run. Don't skip the ads. Run. Just have it run on through and spread the good word. But other than that, I'll see you guys next week. I don't know what this week is. Bye, everybody.
Trekking heavy or traveling light, there's one thing that's right wherever I go. That's where I